Nandakumarji, do you agree that the transfer of population is not a correct decision because people generally don't come back? If you look at historically, when people migrate out, it's very difficult for them to get integrated. So it's very difficult for people from hill to come down to Imphal, or people from Imphal to go to hills.
It is possible. In Imphal, it is possible because the number of houses burned down in Imphal is very less. So many people left because of fear to different places, mostly in Delhi and other big cities. It is possible. But however, in Sultanpur, all the houses have been burned down, even the places have been leveled. So it's a little concern where you would have seen the problem areas are in Sultanpur, Kangpokpi, and the More, that is in Tamil Nadu district. These three districts are having the most difficulties. And in these areas, we have ASPA. And all the problems are here. In Imphal, that is not much of a problem. And because of, as I mentioned earlier, and to counter Mr. Hawke, he was justifying the protesters of Kuki women blocking the Manipur commando. So if he justifies, then the visuals you have shown in your program by the Meitei also would be justifiable. However, I do not support any type of blockage in operations of military operations for both the communities. And let me also continue about the SU agreement, which I would like to mention to the viewers that the Meitei insurgencies, they all come under Unlawful Activities Prevention Act, that is UAPA 1967. So they are declared illegal and banned by the government of India, Ministry of Home Affairs. So the army and the police can take any legal actions against them. And though the 12 so-called terrorists have been or insurgency have been released by the army, it is the decision by the army best known to them, and I respect to their decision. It is not because of the pressure of the Maila Pabis, number one. Number two, however, the laws mention that UAPA 1967, the Arms Act 1959, the Arms Rule 2016 are not applicable to the SU group because they haven't given exemption with this agreement. So that's how they are having the military graded weapons, whereas military graded weapons are not allowed even to keep with your license. Licensed guns are allowed permitted only category 4 type of guns. And you would have seen in many visuals and the parade which had happened on 15 August at Lamka, Sultanpur. Those guns are highly sophisticated and they are using snipers also. These are the illegal weapons. You cannot, as a civilian or other than the military personnel, while on duty, those type of guns cannot be used. So, however,
but Nandakumarji, sorry, you can speak, Nandakumarji, but the government data says that the 80% of the looted weapons are in the valley. Only the 20% are in.
I do agree. Yeah, I do agree. The looted weapons are there. The government can take. Who will oppose? Government can take any decision, and the operation can be done. Even the army or Assam rebel can undergo operations with the presence of a district magistrate. Nobody is stopping. It is government decision to decide when to recover, how to recover. This is a government decision. I cannot comment on that, and I will fully endorse with whatever decision taken by the government. So this is absolutely law and order situation. However, SU groups, you can't do anything because they have been protected by the agreement. If you read the SU agreements, I am sure you would be having a copy. See, it is army and the militant groups will not fire at each other. And I'll give an statistics which is available in Ministry of Home Affairs annual reports. If you please read from 2001 to 2023, the army, the SU agreement says in 2005, army started this agreement. And from 2001 to 2004, before the starting of this agreement, the number of security personnel killed is about 143. And after the commencement of SU by the army, 2005 to 2008, I'm taking 4 years since I have taken 4 years in.
But Nandakumarji, why do people say army and SU? Center was involved, UPA government was involved, Home Ministry was involved, Defense Ministry was involved, State government was involved. 2008, entire political machinery was involved.
Yes.
People just reduce it to army. I'm saying you're part of the armed forces. You were part of the armed forces.
Yeah. I'll tell you until the reason. This is one of the most probable reason is the Meitei insurgencies happen. If you see the Home Minister's MHA reports, it is always mentioned that the Meitei insurgencies are causing problems, one or a problem in the Manipur. and they have been banned from 2000 before 2001 onwards. None of the Kuki, none of the Naga militant groups or terrorists are in the list of banned under EUAPA. So probably a lot of security forces were killed. So they would have thought if they take the side of the Kuki by agreeing not to fire each other, Meitei will be eliminated. I mean, Meitei insurgencies. So it had happened. From 2005 to 2009, number of insurgencies, Meitei insurgency kill is to the tune of 3,944. And from 2006 to 2022 is around 701. So
Okay.
more than 4,500 Meitei insurgents has been eliminated, and some who would have survived would have gone to the Myanmar, and more than 15,000 have been arrested. So the Meitei insurgency groups comes under the ambit of the law of the country.
Okay.
However,
Okay.
Kuki militants are exempted from law of the country. This is what problem is.
Okay, let me come back to the original subject. I allow this discussion to take place because people on this issue feel intensely about it. But Mr. Hauke, you know, it's, I know whether it's too rich on my part to say this, but civil society groups on both the sides have not behaved the way they could have behaved. They participate in accelerating the conflict rather than behaving like peacekeepers.
True.
I'm just not talking about Myra Pibes, even the cookie groups. You know, they instead of creating a healing touch, they took the maximalist position on national media, isn't it? And Myra Pibes is a reflection of it.
Definitely, in the last few years, the civil society organizations in Manipur have become a kind of frontal organization of another entities. It may be a powerful person, a powerful politician, or another insurgent groups. They have acted as the frontal organizations of many powerful entities. So the kind of role they have played in the last few years have changed. We cannot depend upon the goodwill or the kind of activities they engage in the last few years. So this is the kind of position that I took, and coming back to some other issues, for instance, the kind of rehabilitations relief that we are talking about earlier. I think it's the quite time to look into the matters in the hills, because we have seen in the news that the Chief Minister of Manipur inaugurated relief camps and others in the valley. But what about the relief camps in the hills? Because there are more people who are in relief camps, which is not a kind of relief camps, but which are schools, which are church premises and others. So after 3 months, it's time that
Are you saying that there are no relief camps in?
schools should have started by now.
Are you saying? Are you saying there are no relief camps in hills, only in valley?
We should place all those students in schools by now. So the students, they have lost more than 3 months now, and unless they start classes by September, then they will lose the whole year. So it's very essential that these people in the hills, especially in Chusanpur and Kampopi, the people who flee violence should be in relief camp. And I don't know what is the update on the kind of relief camps that that is supposed to be
Okay.
built by the, and
Okay.
we have no idea on that. And
Correct,
it's time
correct.
that they shifted to those
There has to
camps
be an
and
audit. I completely agree with you. There has to be an audit of the relief camps in the Imphal Valley. There has to be an audit of the relief camps in the hill area. Mr. Chakma, you wanted to comment quickly?
Just wanted to highlight one particular point working on the Northeast India, which I found in the last 30 years of my activism. Whenever we talk about rights in Northeast India, we usually in the Northeast India talk about the rights of our community minus the others. That a community organization is exactly does that. So what I was saying in the beginning.
So are you saying
I
that the
am
community
active-
organization, Suhasji, are the dadas of politics in Northeast?
To a large extent, you could see that community organizations, student organizations, shaping the politics of each state, which is not focused on rights or human rights. When you talk about human rights, you have to remember that we are talking about human beings. So my own personal experience, including my own community organizations, that when we talk about our community organization rights, we talk about our individual rights or community rights minus the rights of the other people. So in the entire civil society movement in the Northeast India, which I have seen, number of human rights organizations come up. Of course, when it comes to addressing violence by the state and the state forces or the Union of India, we all become human rights organizations. But essentially, the organizations are basically communal organizations roaming around as human rights organizations.
Okay.
Because you talk about human rights, so people tend to perceive that these are the human rights. A human rights organization believes or advocates without any differentiation of caste, creed, ethnicity.
I think
or
that's
whatever.
a very valid observation.
But,
Human rights organizations work on universal identity. Human right is a universal identity, but human rights organizations work on ethnic identities. Correct, Suhasji?
all the groups belonging to all communities, including the Chakmas, they only advocate their own rights by violating at times the rights of the other communities.
Correct. I absolutely agree.
And that's one of
and
that's one of the root causes of the conflict.
Absolutely, and that is why today we decided to do this debate. If you look at the function of the groups like Mera Paibis, they have worked against AFSPA. They provided support to Ivan Sharmila. They worked against drug abuse. They worked against alcoholism in the society. They worked on even on the issues of vice. It got controversial. A lot of people would say, this is vigilantism. But the fact is, they had a role to play. But somehow, it mutated during the conflict. So the question is, do civil society actors, even groups like Mera Paibis, instead of becoming peacekeepers, did they turn into agent provocator? And this is not just limited to them. It's also about other groups, other civil society actors working on human rights, whether instead of working on getting people together, they started only working and concentrating on their people, on their community. And I think that's where the fault line lies. I hope these fault lines are addressed when the session is met in Manipur, because now it has been announced and things are put on record. And I want to see that things are put on record in Manipur Assembly, because then the memories will be preserved of what happened last 120 days.